Alright, hello. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but I'll do my best, and I don't know how well you'll be able to hear me either, due to it's windy today. Now, as you might know, excuse me here, these are kind of expensive spark plug wires for your truck. They're really expensive. But I got reading on the internet, and there was a cheaper alternative, and that was to get the spark plug wire kit. It's 7 millimeters, 6 for a 6-cylinder. So the issue is these ends are nothing like these ends, because these are designed to seal and waterproof, and well, you won't be able to get it like those, but we'll make it fit. First off, sorry, I can make sure you can see. First off, you want to take and you want to push your thing out. At least mine I can push. You just push it. Then you take your electrical cutters and you cut off that part. You don't need it. Next, you pull the wire back through. Just trying to make sure you can see here. You gotta pull it back so far so you don't cut into it. When it's far enough back, then you just take your snips and you cut it off like that. Then you proceed to push it right back through. So you get so much exposed. And I got my spark plug right here, so that'll be handy. Now you just take your wire cutters or your scissors, which it depends on how thick your wire is, but this is pretty thick. So I'm just kind of gently, you gotta be careful so you don't cut through the wire here. Now for this application, there's no real plug inside there. It's just got touch in there, which I really don't like, because the other ones are spring. Now for the tough part, let me find it here. Due to the fact that this is smaller than your spark plug, see how sloppy that is, and you don't want that. My method here is to take electrical tape, which is very difficult since this rubber here is very slippery, so you got to be careful and hang on to that. You got to hold it down, at least for the first wrap, before it'll sustain itself. Alright, see what I mean? It's coming undone and everything. So we just do that. Alright, now it gets easy. Then we just we wrap our electrical tape around a couple times. Yeah, I know it's hard to gauge how thick to put it, but I think that's about good right about there. Now we just take our scissors or your knife, whatever you prefer or have, and cut it. Then you take and test it on your spark plug, and that seems to be a pretty snug fit. Now if the fit is too snug, you can always take and unwrap it a little bit, and that will I don't know where the speaker is on this camera, and that will make it so it'll fit in. Now for the tricky part, the other end here doesn't have that rubber boot, so you have to make one out of rubber. This is just fuel hose. This particular hose is a 1/4 inch or 6.4 millimeters. The problem with it being 6.4 is that your wire is 7 millimeters. I'll get to that here in a second, dealing with that. So you take your scissors, and depending on how much you want to work, because it is very difficult, I've been doing about 1 inch. So you just take about 1 inch and you cut it off. Can you see? Alright, you cut it off. Alrighty. After you cut that off, what you're going to want to do is, because it's like excuse me, let me think, 6 millimeters short of what you need, you take your pliers here and you stick it in that hose and you turn it around and you try to stretch it out, which this may take a couple times to get it right. It's kind of difficult to do. Sorry you can't hear me very well. The weather is a little windy. Alright. So, sorry, my tripod is moving around and now you see my fat gut. Alright. So anyway, you just stretch it out like that. Then you take your wire end, and this is difficult because it's smaller. I stretched it, but it helps if you take some Vaseline. That's what I'm using here. I don't know if it's the best, but whatever. They use it for light bulbs and whatever else, keep them from squeaking. I don't know why. Alright. Guess people really don't like the noise. Then, as you figured, you lube it. Alright. Then we take our piece of stretched 1/4 inch tube. Now you might be lucky enough just to get 6 millimeters, 6 millimeter fuel line, but I'm not that lucky. This is what I had in stock, so it's what I'm using. So now you just push it, which is very difficult to do. You can probably cut that off if you really wanted to. I'll do that later. And if it don't push on the nicest, here's another tip. Once you get it on so far, it helps if you take a combination wrench and put it like that, so you're pushing from behind. That seems to help because now you're not squeezing on the tube. Let's see if I get lucky and get it on the first time. Can you see that? Alright. Because sometimes I gotta take it off and stretch it So I think I'm not getting lucky today. So I gotta take it off, stretch it out again. This helps a whole lot, otherwise give up. Unless you're more amazing than me, which is pretty hard to beat me. Alright, now I'll go for my wrench. Now personally, I recommend just getting the real ones. Real wires. But the problem is it's like $300 for a set. Or $50 a pop. And currently I don't have that kind of money. I think these wires are like 24 bucks. I don't know. By the time I'm done with the labor here. And hopefully I get the real ones soon. I just gotta keep working it. And like I said, it's difficult, but you gotta get it on. The wrench. But this is why I recommend a shorter piece. I've tried longer pieces and it's virtually impossible to get them on. Because it is such a tight fit. If this wasn't my truck, I'd probably charge quite a bit for labor on these. Alright, now you gotta get it on so you got the smoother end touching the spark plug, so you gotta try to get the rougher one on the under the wire here. Alright, I'm getting closer. Takes a bit to work it. And you want to resist the urge to pull on that wire, because it'll just pull the wire out and cause you problems. So I'm right-handed here and not having the best of luck showing you guys. It's coming, but not really. Alright, you've seen what I do here to get that on, so I'm going to take a quick break. Alright, now I finally got it on. All you do is you just push it on till you get there. It's probably not a bad idea to cut off some of the excess wire you don't need. Now, here's the next tricky part you got to deal with. As you might have suspected from all the stretching, are holes that used to fit in here perfectly. I don't know if I showed you that earlier, but it fits in there perfectly. But now it's been stretched so it doesn't fit so nice anymore. And you're going to be asking, well, how do we fix that? Well, I'll tell you the truth, I don't really have a good solution for that. My solution, though, what I've been doing is taking my, let me adjust the camera here, Vaseline, and kind of spreading it on this chunk of hose. Let me look on the camera here. Alright. Run it up so it gets on better. Not that it really matters since it's cutting it anyway. And you take this or whatever. It's a I use this in one of my other tutorials to make a let me think. Why can't I think of the name of it? Oh yeah, it was a gasket I made for the same truck. Doing a similar. You just gotta work it on here. See how that's kind of shaving that outer layer of rubber off? That's what you want. And this particular punch is just the right. Probably shouldn't have slathered it with so much stuff. This happens to be just the right size. I'll put some gloves on so I can grip it better. I just thought I'd show you guys how to do this, because it is difficult, I am not going to lie. And it would have helped me if I would have had somebody show me, so I didn't think there was a video out there, so I figured I'd make a nice video for you guys. See how it's done. Now this is the cheap fix. If you're fortunate enough to have the money or whatever, just spend it and get the real deal, because doing this job absolutely sucks. And you don't have to do it like, it's not like you do it once like what I'm going to do for this video. You have to do it 6 times. So it is pretty labor intensive. Sorry, I can't see much. But you can see what I'm doing. I'm peeling that back. And if you don't have the tools to do this, I recommend you buy them. You will not regret it, because you need these tools for so much stuff. If you're a do-it-yourselfer like me. I like to pull that off so I can see where I'm at. Now the problem is, because of this hole in the back is smaller, you can only go on there so far. I'll show you what I do for that here as soon as I think I've reached my limit, which is soon. I don't know how much good the lube does, but I figure it doesn't hurt none. Alright, can you see that? Yeah. Yeah, that's a little easier. I'll just do a little more cutting till I can't cut it no more. I think this spark plug wire set was about 25 or 30 bucks at Napa. So it is significantly cheaper than 50 bucks a pop. Well, like I said, if you're fortunate enough to have the money, unlike me, just do yourself a favor, spend the money, and get the real thing. Because it is challenging. So I will admit, you learn a lot. Try not to... Oh, I'm sitting on it. That's the deal. And yes, then I whittled some off. Not the best method in the world, but it does help. You don't have to be perfect, just to get the majority of it off. Oh boy, someone's shooting a 22. Oh well, glad not in Detroit. But yeah, I recommend you wear long pants when you're doing this to reduce your chances of getting cut. But it's pretty warm out today, so I'm not. And I figured I'm doing this at my own risk. And I have some first aid knowledge, so I can always patch myself up. No big deal. Yeah, it's a little rough, but that might be good enough. And you take your spark plug and you put it on, and as you can see, it fits about perfect. Now you can adjust this, adjust the length and everything. And that's it for making your own spark plug wires for a Continental R6602 engine. So that's it. And here's another wire I did earlier, just in case you would like to see it. Now I didn't do the boot thing on the back side because there is no boots in this particular kit for the back side. The boots that do come with it suck because they don't have this long tube on them, so I couldn't do that, which would have been nicer, but this should do. And I would ideally like it longer to reduce the bending and torquing on the thing, but it's a lot of work. So, and I guess that's it. So till next tutorial. Bye.